proud. I'm telling you, become a part of it. Embrace it. 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 When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.
Peace, 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 peace and power, family. Dr. Dobb back in the box, black box with Queen of B, family. We're going to talk today, coming straight from the place. We got a little topic. Queen pulled this one out of the box on me. I gave her like 3 topics the last month. I don't necessarily know how this was going to flow, but I'm excited to hear how it will. Trump. Queen says, here we go.
Here we go.
What you mean, Queen?
That mean I'm getting blamed. You know, guys, I get blamed for everything.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't know. Queen poured this one out on me.
Oh,
it's a real one. I gave it to her about 3 weeks ago. Then I got scared.
This our last Trump. We're done with Trump.
No, I got scared. You know,
I had this until next year.
So I'm not blaming no Queen. I'm actually telling the truth. She pulled it out on me. I gave it to her about 3 weeks ago. I was afraid to talk about it because I wanted to speak about education, and then he appointed this young lady, I don't know, young old McMahon or something, whatever, or something like that.
Wrestler, ain't she a wrestler? A wrestler wife or something, right?
They're the ones who I guess own the WWE or something like that. But nonetheless, so no blames. This is just all facts. So what I am sharing is that this has nothing to do with that. So facts, she pulled it out on me because I gave it to her 3 weeks ago. And facts, I didn't want to talk about 3 weeks ago because I didn't want people to get confuse that topic with what was going on then. So it's okay. Nonetheless, I want to talk about Trump isn't disrupting much in black education. Now, I know there are those who are going to come for me today, and I'm fine with that as well. I don't know how it's going to go, but all I know is going to be a flow. Queen of B, speak to the people.
I was about to get my drink on. We hear you back.
Alcoholic beverages here.
Water. I have water. We hear your music, so I like the background sound you got going on over there. So that disclaimer.
Okay. I'll turn it down a bit.
There's some music in the house. But anyway, listen, guys. Happy Thursday. It's cool outside. It's frisky. It's getting frisky. It's getting winter. Baltimore here is cold. I'm telling you.
Cold.
They say it's cold up in that joint. I'm greetings from South Carolina. It is cool. It is not cold. It was cold last night, but it is cool. I have a low cold, but I'm here. I'm excited. Hope everybody's ready to get in the box and let's talk about education and how we need to educate ourselves, our families, and our community. It's important for it to come from us. And we have to do some work right now. We got to do some real work because it's got to be some things coming up in this country. So we got to do some things for ourselves.
Okay. How do I sound, Queen?
You sound amazing.
I turned my thing down a little bit. Can you still hear that music?
Just a little.
Just a little? Okay. All right. I'll turn it back up then. All right. So nonetheless, so you say, yeah, it's cold up here. I don't think the temperatures will fairly. I don't know what the temperature is, but I don't. Oh, man, it's 26 degrees, but it feels much. It feels colder than that. That's what my phone says. You know, this is probably the local one, so it might say higher. Like if you're out of town or something, might be a little higher. But nonetheless, it feels like 20 something.
I'm thinking about the studio up there. How's it?
It says 27 on the other one.
My pipes and my plants, the peas over there, the pipes and the plants.
The pipes and the plants. So yeah, it's a bit cold, and it wasn't even that cold earlier, but it was still cold. It's something about the wind chill and all that going on. But nonetheless, I don't have any thermals on, and it has my legs cold. Go out there. Ooh, somebody said, "Is the hawk out there?" When you hear somebody says the hawk out there, they ain't saying this ain't, when you say it's cold, they say it ain't cold yet. But no, I've heard a few people say it's a hawk out there today.
Yeah,
So,
I talked to someone today that said it's cold. They were lighting a Christmas tree at the monument and said it's cold. They couldn't even do it. It's too cold.
oh, really? It ain't
Yeah,
that cold. Jeez, what happened?
I
The
guess to see
lighters got
something lighting it and that 20 degrees hitting you where they lighting the sky up. It's not worth it, bro.
what? I mean, that's probably a pseudo-scientific experiment. Well, the lights didn't even come on. They probably didn't pay the bill. So we're gonna blame it on the cold. 26 degrees. It ain't that cold. The Christmas tree can't light up.
And listen, they're lighting it and they didn't want to stand out there because it's cold.
Oh, okay. Oh, I get it. And it's like it's so abrupt. It wasn't like we got a chance to kind of like we went from warm weather to straight
Cold.
26. We didn't even kind of like
You didn't get a little bridge, right?
yeah. So again, Queen of B, talk to the people. Talk to the people. Talk about me, Queen. Tell them about me.
I'm not talking about that.
Huh?
I'm not talking about that. That's what I'm not talking. But he gave me this topic, and I thought it was so essential because I really don't want to talk about Trumpy again. This is it for him. He is.
No, it's not. Let's not lie to the people.
No, I'm talking about this year.
We got 4 years. Oh, this year.
Yeah, this year.
He might do something next week, Queen. He might do something.
Nah, he might. That's right. This guy. I'm telling you. But we
don't want to be like Biden. I'm not going to pardon my son, and you come back next week like you're lying, Queen. You're lying. So
we know
the goal is not to pardon my son. The goal, but maybe something might happen. The goal is for you not to talk about Trump again. I got you.
The goal is to not really talk about him. We got to deal with him for the next 4 years. And trust me, he's going to be a lot of content. We're going to have a lot to talk about with him. But this Biden thing, as you just mentioned, I do expect for him to pardon his son. They make the rules, they break the rules. This makes sense to me. I don't know why we got our panties in a bunch. This is what they're gonna do. Listen, you break the law, we can get you off. This is what they do.
But I understand. I understand.
Criminals do criminal thing. So I expected this.
Criminals do criminal thing. Now, come on with your fake patois.
Criminal thing. Yeah, I don't like Biden. I think he's a criminal. He's always been one.
But I understand why people. I understand why people are frustrated, though, Queen.
I don't understand why you're frustrated because if it was your son,
everybody don't believe that.
And I was president. Let me tell you, son.
That's why they frustrated.
I'm getting ready to pardon him. I don't blame him. He's a father, but he's also a crook. So that's what a crook do. So I don't know what's wrong with us. Yeah. I don't know why we thinking like
everybody don't see him as a crook, though, Queen. Huh? Everybody don't see him as a crook.
Well, I said if he wasn't a crook, he's to get where he is. Trust me, he's no angel. And remember who was the orchestrator of the crime bill that put a lot of my brothers in jail, brothers and sisters. Brian is a crook. Brian ain't nothing good about him to me. I don't like him, never did. He's president. I don't like Trump. Trump's gonna be president. It's nothing new for us. Can we like any of them?
Boy, I triggered her. But Queen, I think your mic is even going in or out, or it's something is happening over there.
Y'all put in the chat. What's going on with my sound?
I don't feel like you're speaking in the mic. Could you check your settings?
No, he didn't.
So family, let me take that back while she get that together.
I got it together now. I hear what you're saying. I'm here.
Yeah, she wasn't trusting me. I know what it sounds like.
Engineer guys. He do the engineering. He do the sound. He do the setup. See, he's sitting to the side. This guy's a savant. And he brings in the freaking podcast. The whole content is that's why I love rolling with him. All I gotta do is show up and make my hair stand up a little. See,
it still ain't perfect, but we'll work with it. Something ain't happening, but it sounds much better. I can tell you coming through the mic at this moment.
You said it's not perfect.
Yeah, something is muffled.
Really?
But yeah, something's not right. But your camera looks good. Your skin looks good.
Oh yes.
All those type of things. But all right, so we're gonna talk about family. We want you to join us today on this conversation,
please.
We'll put the link in the chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna take care of all of that. I got you.
We'll put the link in the chat, and I kind of want to talk about let's jump into this because so the me and Queen don't have a
But you got
debate
to
about.
still go through Biden because you said he wasn't a. We got to talk. You brought that up. We got to talk about that. The pardon joint. I want to hear what people got to say about that. But
Well,
fathers
I
pardon
mean,
their
I
children.
understand what I'm saying. Okay, I think I understand the different perspectives.
Okay.
Everybody doesn't think that Biden is a criminal. First and foremost, a lot of us voted for him to put him into place.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so you say sorry.
Sorry for
So
y'all.
a lot of us really like have been fighting for Biden to even stay, although we knew he's senile and all that. We we believe what Biden. I'm not talking about me or you, but I'm talking about lots of us believe that Biden is a good white man.
Okay.
And lots of us believe in the United States. Lots
Mm.
of us, quiet is enough. We our humanitarianism or our humaneness, it's limited. I mean, we spoke about this idea of Trump, Kamala. We spoke about Palestine. We spoke about all like, and a lot of people are saying they don't care nothing about anything else that's going on outside of this country. Many of us understand, although we might have gripes with the system here of racism, we still subconsciously and even consciously understand that we are the most protected slaves. So we're not going to give that up.
Oh wow.
We have we're like the highest oppressed people
Ooh.
I mean, we kind of know that we have protections. We
So you saying
protect.
there's a pecking order for oppression? Wow.
When you think about it, like you
Wow.
think you want to be protected, you want to be a part of this system because this system
Mm.
has big guns. It has nuclear bombs, and it tells the rest of the
Yep.
world what they can and cannot do with nukes. But is the only country in the world who has ever dropped a nuke.
Yes. It has the
So,
most in the world.
is it? Do they have the most? Or I
Yeah, they're the
think
largest arsenal of nuclear weapons.
I
That's the
heard
last time
some.
I read.
I heard another stat today, but I won't
What
make
is
that.
it? Let's hear it.
I won't go with it. But nonetheless,
Okay.
I don't want. That might be up
Let me
for
look it
debate
up.
or
You go ahead. I'm gonna
interpretation.
look it up.
But so nonetheless, nonetheless, this country protects us. We have lots of protection in this country in many ways when it comes to world warfare. We
Mhm.
so we so we don't want America to not be the strongest empire. We want it to be the strongest empire because we don't want to experience what other people are going through in Palestine and Israel and Lebanon and Syria. I mean, Ukraine and Russia and all these different places in Haiti and Congo, Sudan. We
Yeah.
don't want all this stuff to go on. So to some way, we are okay with with being complicit with it.
Mm.
We don't even want to see how America has aided, abated, and even caused much havoc across the world
Yep.
because something inside of us said, well, look, if they don't do it, that makes them less lethal. That makes them less of a threat. That makes them less of a power. So, so I would rather be and I'm not saying myself, I'm saying this is how our minds think. I think on a subconscious level, I would rather be in the plantation whose master is better able to protect us.
Mm.
So I want to be on the winning team, even if I'm still a slave. If my position is a slave, let me be a slave with the best master,
Wow.
with the
That
strongest empire.
that's what
Now,
it
I mean,
is.
because
Mm.
it's like it's saying things like in your mind, you don't think that there's any possibility that this is the only way for the world to exist. There has to be war. This is the mindset. There has to be war. There has to be nuclear threats. There have to be capitalism, because without capitalism and all these other things, then America will be weak. So why would I not want America to do these things?
Mm.
I mean, I think this is the mindset that many of us don't really disclose.
Mm. So we're afraid.
I mean, we might not even know that we think these things. But to me, it's very logical, even though it's not necessarily realistic or beneficial to us and um, humanity. Because I think there are other ways of living and being, existing. And empires fall, and they'll have to pay back. They have to pay for the destruction they cause. Just like right now, they're talking about Trump, talking about putting tariffs on bricks, and that's understandable. But I'm just saying, like at some point, enough will be enough, and all of us will have to pay for it, or our grandchildren will have to pay for it. Our great grandchildren will pay. If we don't pay for it, our great great grands will pay for it, because we're complicit in this country. Our comfort creatures have us living pretty okay. We just get mad because we go over to the other side of the tracks and we see they're living in larger houses. But we got enough house not to do a goddamn thing about it. If we were living in conditions like many folks around the world, we would probably be more. I mean, and we are in many ways living really horribly, but there's enough of us who serve as gatekeepers, and we put out a lot of fires. Just be happy. We got the best soup kitchens in the world. We have the best social programs. I didn't want to say that, but
this is what Russia has the most confirmed, and America's right behind them, and then all of these other little people are rolling. So they all got bombs, baby.
Mm-hmm. So I'll be out here, Queen. Look, I got some.
I see you, bro. This is per Google. But I understand it just happened in the last 5 years that they've developed their nuclear weapons more.
5 years or not is what it is.
America was leading for a long time, which is it's not a good either way. It's not good.
But America is leading in other ways. You know, America is the only country that's dropped one, and they want to police everybody else as if their hands have been clean. Absolutely. And we believe it. We believe it because we want to believe that America is so just and righteous.
Mm-hmm. Well, why do you think we want to believe that? Why do we have this sanctimonious thought about what America is and not what she really is? It's a killer.
It's hard to believe when your father has abused you, raped you, molested you, that your father actually did that thing to you.
Ooh, that's so true, bro.
So your mind blocks out those things. You know, what you do then is you idealize your father. In fact, sometimes you begin to hate your mother because your father did these things, but you hate your mother on another level. This is just metaphorical or just kind of an analogy type of thing, but it's real. It's a real analogy. I begin to hate my mother because I have to blame it on somebody, or or my father. I can't believe he did that to me. So what I do is I block out that pain. So I have to now idealize the very person who's molested me, raped me, abused me, helped me against will, and done all these type of things to me.
Wow. So is that the fragility that we see within the white community about this country and their ancestors? Is like you cannot believe it, so you idealize the thought of what America is than what she really is?
Yeah, I think so. And then also, I think lots of times what we do is, I think we all have been guilty of this.
Sure.
Is that we kind of judge people according to what we will or will not do. You know, we can't believe. It's hard to believe that people can be so cruel.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And to some degree, that's a fact. So it's really hard. And then sometimes We just don't want to see it because we think that what oppressed people do or abuse people do, they the best thing they think they can do is not look at on the outside. Take your power back and just focus on what you've done wrong, and hence don't even look at what's going on out there, because it's not that easy to. I mean, the media also doesn't just tell you the media tells you America is great. Our media, right?
Right.
And then, so you have to really study and look at. You have to go and look at different. I mean, media is prevalent and pervasive, but we go to the same media that we want to listen to. We go to the same channels that they program and they put in front of us, that what they put in the algorithm. We don't go searching for things. In fact, we also want to be on a winning team. So why would I listen to a low budget platform when I can listen to MSNBC, who's on the way out because they didn't lie too long as well?
You said that they're on their way out because they lied too long.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't feeling MSNBC and all that.
None of them. CNN, they're all a mess. Yeah.
Right. So we've put this Band-Aid on for so long. People have, the jig is up. They're like, the Band-Aid ain't working. Hence, Hence, this is one of the reasons why we have Trump again. You know, I mean, I'm saying there's various reasons. Various reasons. Some people want to give these singular reasons. I don't do science like that. You know, I didn't. You know, you have to have. I mean, what you have to isolate variables and understand that there's a multiplicity of variables that exist. Why Trump is in the White House? I was listening to what's his name? Anyway, he said there's no such thing as free will. That's a topic right there. Whew.
There's no such thing as free will. Wow.
Yeah. What's the biologist's name at Stanford? He speaks about there's nothing. He got zebras. What do you say? Why zebras don't have ulcers or something? Forgot. But nonetheless, he's a very interesting guy. But yeah. So you wanted to talk about this Hunter Biden and Trump thing again.
Well, you brought it up. I'm not. But I think it's a topic that people are definitely thinking about. But a father pardons a son. I don't get it. It makes sense to me.
Well,
I had the power.
Well, it doesn't make sense to us. I understand why it doesn't. Because we're very complex people. One, again, we trusted this white man, and we see him as being holy and as close as Jesus as anything possible. So he looks like Jesus, you know. And so you know, he has, you know, he looks like Jesus, and we know what they've done to us with the white Jesus. You know, subconsciously we don't trust white people, but subconsciously we love them.
Ooh.
We don't even feel that black people, we're not that far removed that we think that black people are competent.
Wow.
Or that they are not criminals. Although, you know, we think we expect better from white people, good old white people. Although they traumatize us and hurt us and did all these things to us. The other reason why I understand, because we holy. I'm saying, and I'm saying in a good way. I'm saying that lots of us are very spiritual people, and we can't. We have higher values than our president. So how many men you know in our community, like, if he did it, his ass going to jail? Huh?
I hear it all the time.
Yeah. How many fathers you heard in the black community say that? He need to go to jail.
Yeah. I hear that.
Yeah. Now, especially the brothers, right? The other thing is, I understand that some of them are frustrated because now you think about it, like, if my son did this, he wouldn't be able to get off.
No.
I wouldn't be able to do that. So to me, I think that's an appropriate feeling.
But you got someone who's a felon who's president. Anything can happen with these folks. They do anything they want.
They're not happy with that, though.
They might not be happy, but it's happening.
No, I'm saying the same people who have disdain with this criminal becoming the president, also, some of them who are keeping it consistent, because
Mhm.
many of us don't keep things consistent. They are the same. They are lots of them are the same ones saying, "How could Biden do this now?" I think
It's
that if they clear across the board,
we
they're
have to know
holding
they all
everybody accountable.
criminals. Them
I
all criminals. They all
personally,
criminals.
I mean, at the end of the day, I have a problem with it, although I don't expect any more. To
Not
me,
no
I think
problem.
you don't have a problem.
I don't, because I understand that this system is showed us time and time again that these folks will do whatever they
So
want
you're
to do.
okay with them? You
They
okay with
change.
them?
I
You're
can
okay
I
with them?
if I'm okay or not, I feel powerless
No,
and
okay.
not
So I'm
being
saying,
okay.
so you're okay with what they're doing?
I'm not okay, but I understand that it's nothing, and it seems to be nothing we as a community or Black people can change the criminality
I'm
that
not
we see
hopeless. Like,
going
so
on in
that's the
America.
difference. See, maybe they're not as hopeless as you're coming across right now.
Maybe, but we see it over and over, and I don't know how many times that we have to see it to actually believe it.
Well,
Trump
this
is
is different.
president, a felon. This guy's son is a felon, and he's going to pardon his felonious son because he's a felon. Okay,
Okay.
it makes sense to me.
Yeah, you seem angry, so I don't think I think that it's
You said I'm
definitely
angry.
yeah. I don't think you approve of this. I think you pulled shit in.
No, I really think that these folks are doing what they want to do. I
But
really
you
do.
said it's not. But you don't approve of it. You disapprove of it.
I disapprove of anything they're doing, but I think we're powerless in stopping it.
Well, you know, at
I
this
disapprove of
moment,
Trump. I
that
disapprove of Biden, but what can I do with him?
well, so I think the struggle it doesn't like there's always going to be things that happen, but I'm not sure if I would say I can't get with the idea that we're powerless. You might not
Oh,
win all the battles, but
hmm.
I can't get with that. Look, if I felt powerless, I would. I mean, it's no reason for me to continue. Like. There's no reason for me to continue. In fact, that
When I say powerless,
powerlessness
I mean
becomes a
powerless to
problem.
change that. But I think in our own communities and
Hmm.
the way that we can galvanize and the way that we can unite and the things that we can do together, we're
Hmm.
powerful. I'm not saying that powerless as now we're perilous. I'm saying with that, what they're doing with
Hmm.
their government and their systems and the way that they set this thing up, we're
Hmm.
powerless to change that. What I think at this point is, but we're not powerless in our community and what we can do and how we can be powerful, that now we can then come to the table and have power. But right now, I think we're powerless in a lot of ways because we really believe in this system.
Well, if you believe in a system, let me tell you why you would be upset. I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying, but I understand why people are upset because first of all, he seemed to be lying. He seemed to go back on what he was saying.
He's a
If you believed
liar.
in him, if you believed in him.
Hmm.
Also, I think what hits people pretty hard is when you hear that Biden, and even just knowing that this system that you have to, I believe in the what is it, the judicial system, the and the what is it called, the jury and all that type of thing, and then you will rule that, and that's one of the most fundamental values in our country, judicially, and then you hear somebody with the power to go above that system that we say is the best, and we have to go through that. I mean, I can imagine why people would be upset whether or not they believe or they approve or disapprove of the system. It's kind of like what the sisters say, it gives king, it gives king, it
Well,
gives that this is not a democracy. All these women
it's never
walking
been a
around,
democracy.
I ain't gonna be lie, I got so tired of hearing sisters and brothers, especially brothers. I'm sorry, but definitely sisters because they were saying it mostly. But brothers, they even frustrated me more. They're doing something to our democracy. Like, what was it? Our democracy.
It's not no democracy.
So at the same time, I guess also a part of me is like, now to talk about it like that, it's almost like, yeah, that's what I've been talking about. What democracy?
What democracy?
Yeah, so I mean, he just showed you who he got the power. Some people, I've heard some people say, he said, "F all y'all. I'm on my way out here. I'm protecting my boy."
Yeah,
And they say he's gonna pick up and protect his brother in a few weeks.
that's next. Yep,
hmm
it's gonna
I mean,
happen.
he's not
What
gonna
you
be here.
expect?
I mean, I don't feel like I'm not one of those people like it's so interesting to see both sides of the liberals and the conservatives, quote unquote, go back and forth. And well, this is going to give Trump overall rule to pardon the January 6 people and like
But you see the people he pardoned before he got out, Trump. I mean, he didn't pardon no nice people. He pardoned some felonious people also. So I mean, what are we expecting? This is what these boys are
well,
doing.
it hits you different when this dude and just went and did a personal move for his family member. It's like,
Yep.
oh shoot, they just not criminals. Oh, I can't do that for my child.
Hmm.
Like if you like the reality is I think if you are a parent, some people like I would do it for my son, I'd be pissed off.
I'm pissed
I mean,
off. I think it's
I know
messed
I
up.
have a son. No, I'm saying I have two sons.
Hmm.
So to me, I don't. The fact is, they're like, I would do it for my son. Like, I hear you,
Sure will.
but that should piss you off more because you can't. you know, like I would do it for my son. Okay, yeah, but you
But you're not in
can't.
a
It's only
position. But you
one
can.
person in the country. I think
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe there's somebody else, but from what I know right now, there's
Well, the
one person in
governors
the
can.
country
The governors
that can
can
or
too.
the governors could do it on a state level, right?
On the state
So
level, yes.
yeah, will they pardon their son though? Whew, God have
It's
mercy.
I'm telling you, it tells you how far they will go within
Mhm,
this system to do whatever they want to do, and then tell you have to follow the rules, that your
mhm,
children can't do this, and all of the black men in jail, all of the things
mhm,
that the black community is going through. But I can pardon my son, my uncle, my friend, and they're going to do it. Trump's going to come in and pardon as many people as he wants. Before he
mhm.
left, he pardoned a bunch of felons. This is what they do. And so I don't know how many times we need to see it to believe it. When do we
Well, I
believe?
mean, I think people, those people never they believe in the system.
Wow. I don't know when you're gonna stop believing. Because
You
trust me,
believe in the system, don't you?
you are a pawn in it, baby. And
Well,
if you don't think you are,
I understand
just
why.
keep
I
watching
understand,
TV.
I understand why they. I understand why they upset. I
They ain't
understand why.
finished.
I
He ain't
understand why
finished
you.
with you.
I understand why you feel the way you feel too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's not
I
finished though.
understand, but I understand why
He's
Trump.
coming with some more. He
You
got
know what I
20
mean?
something
But I
days.
do agree that some people probably should be upset that it does, it just gives Trump that card. Oh, like it doesn't make any sense though. Like, oh, well, he's gonna give Trump all the power in the world. Like Trump was gonna care in the first place.
Thank you. And Trump is the president, and
Well,
he's going to do whatever he wants. He's going to do whatever he wants. No one's going to say that. They're going to say, "Oh, that's Trump." But when somebody else does it, then we look at it like side eye, like why? Like Biden is so special. We need to look at Biden's history, his young history. We see him old and feeble now. And you think he's a nice guy? Not no nice guy. Biden was a defense attorney, came into the Senate. Listen, you got to look at his history. This guy is a trip, and we got to
mm,
stop looking at older folks when they're old, like they weren't demons. Please,
mm,
this is a
mm.
demon.
I think
And
that was that. I think
the
that's a good.
demon has done his work.
I think that it is something about elder when you become older that
People
makes
get
you feel
nice.
like
Yeah.
you just look, they don't even get nice, they just look nice.
They look nice. Like he looks so gentle. Please pull up Biden. Pull up his
But
history.
but you don't even
Please.
gotta go to his history. All you gotta do is listen to him now.
Yeah, talk
Literally,
about with black. You ain't black if you vote for him. Who is he?
I mean, and even like he told the way he talks to reporters, and
Yes.
he's trying to lay down his hardcore. Like even the thing is, even him talking about Trump's people, only idiots side. What did he say?
And you saw a little flash of Biden when he said that. And then he had to come
Yeah.
back and recant.
Well, then they just blame it on his Alzheimer's or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's what kills me is he has a problem, but Trump is only 3 years younger than him, but he's coherent. I don't understand these people. I just don't understand what's going on here.
The fact,
But it's all a joke. Trump's 78, he's 82. Two old men.
We know it's a joke, but all right. So I mean, I understand it holistically. What I mean is I understand why some people are upset. I understand why some people are playing the playing the card of like, I would have did it myself if it was my son.
My
I would
son.
do it.
And I had the button.
I understand.
I'm saving my son, baby.
I understand why people would do all of that. So I don't believe that. I don't agree with it.
Well,
Because I
guys,
don't.
put in the chat. If it was your son, what would you do? You pardon that man. I don't want to hear
I
that.
mean,
I don't know what's wrong with y'all.
I,
Y'all would
I
pardon
don't.
your son in a minute.
I don't agree with it holistically. I think that maintains. I understand. I think that maintains. It's kind of like that's what we do in the society already. Like I'm talking about black folk because he's already corrupt, so we might as well stay playing the game. So I feel like I don't like it. I don't think it's. But some people are saying he doesn't really care about his son. That he used his son. That pretty much he's actually protecting himself.
Probably.
In fact, because the more you go and look into Hunter's, I think that's his name, right? Hunter's history and what he's done over the last
Biden
decade.
is right there with him. Trust me, they're crooks
Yeah.
together. Biden,
Right.
this brother cannot
So,
get over there
in that
without his
case-
father's.
In that
How he
case,
gets over to Ukraine without his
if
father.
he's a crook, I would.
His
If I'm
daddy's
a
a
crook, if I'm a crook, I imagine so. I would. If I was a crook, I would do that.
Me too.
But because I'm not a crook, I can't get down with it. You know what I mean? I'm not a crook. I'm not that person. I'm just trying to let you know I'm not that person. I feel like, as a community, although we're not there, but I'm just telling you, it's still my ideal that we operate in a community-oriented manner. And
Well, as a community, why wouldn't this make us come together more? Why wouldn't we now look to like what can we? Yeah, how
that's
can
why
we be powerful?
that's why I said we should be mad.
We should be mad, and we should galvanize from this.
So that's what I'm saying. So
I'm saying not mad to the point that we don't expect it. Not like angry, because I think I'm not angry. I think this is what he was going to do. I knew that he was going to get pardoned.
Some people should. I think anger can fuel some things.
Yeah, I hope it galvanizes us. These folks are playing with y'all in your face.
On both sides.
On both sides. Democrats don't like you. Republicans neither. They're all playing in your face, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't believe it, just keep watching. Keep your TV on. They're going to show you more. Trump's about to show you a lot. Because they're going to make Donald Duck the HUD secretary.
All right. So I say Trump isn't disrupting much in black education.
He is not.
Now, I don't know what Vince McMahon's, or however you say his name, and his wife.
I think it's McMahon. McMahon, like Vince McMahon.
McMahon?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thank you. But before that, I posed this topic to Queen. What's the full topic, Sister Queen? Trump isn't disrupting much in black education. Mm-hmm. And then there's like a subtitle.
Oh yeah, you said African Americans. We have to. Let me get it for you.
This is a subtitle. And
African Americans must teach their own history, culture, and politics.
Yeah. And this title was before Trump. Trump is, he's the target right now. But I'm speaking about what's even going on in Florida and all these places. I'm talking about what's going on in Baltimore, even where none of that's being touched. So let's talk about that. What are they really teaching in our schools to our children? I'm talking about the education. I'm not talking about the free lunch. I am not talking about Title I access, and I'm not talking about these things. I'm not talking about those peripheral things that, I'm not talking about the Parent Plus loans. I'm not talking about those things. What I'm speaking about is the very education that our children receive in these schools. We act like we're protecting something that has been beneficial to our children. Dr. Amos Wilson says we must take responsibility for educating our own children. Waiting for the oppressor to educate our children is an act of self-destruction. And I am saying that I agree with that. And I think that Dr. Wilson and others, Carter G. Woodson, the miseducation of the Negro, and we've been talking about this for all these years. We've been talking about the education system is failing our children. It's like now we want to fight so hard as if there was something in the curriculum that was being taught accurately in the first place when it comes to our history. We especially talking about critical race theory and Black history being taught in schools. I mean, yeah, we understand it's been a watered down. Peace, Doc. We understand it's been a watered down educational process. First and foremost, we're putting so much energy and fighting what's going on in Florida and Texas and all these type of places. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time really trying to understand what's going on in what place and all that. But I do know Florida and Texas has come up a lot. But again, acting as if what we got in Baltimore is any better. Acting as if what we got in Pennsylvania is any better. That is really teaching real Black history. We understand critical race theory. Them talking about critical race theory, I'm not saying critical race theory is a joke. I'm saying them saying critical race theory is being taught in these institutions is a joke. Most people in academia in higher education don't even understand critical race theory. So you think they're teaching the 5-year-olds now? I mean, I get it, but even what they've taught has been non-productive. Again, Dr. Amos Wilson says we must take responsibility for educating our own children. Waiting for the oppressor to educate our children is an act of self-destruction. And this is what we've been talking about for years. And what I'm saying is what happens is when liberals co-opt Black power movements, when woke culture co-opts what we used to call Black consciousness, all types of stuff just passes as if it's revolutionary, and it's not. It's kind of like Black Lives Matter. Let me tell you, this thing, and it was hard for lots of us to kind of deal with this thing. And I understand because there's other oppressed groups in America besides Black people, including some of our LGBTQ plus brothers and sisters. But at the end of the day, they utilize LGBTQ plus I plus as a means of, just like they misuse gender or even being a woman. They utilize these different identities as the ultimate oppressed groups how do I say this? While weakening how race or the construct of race has impacted this society, or racism has impacted us. We even what they're fighting in these schools, if you really listen, I mean, Black history and critical race theory, but the reality is a lot of us are really fighting more about things that a lot of us don't even agree about. I'm just being honest. Like, a lot of us don't really agree with, I'm talking about even gay Black brothers and sisters, or same-gendered loving Black brothers and sisters. In fact, Dr. Myers right there, she had a brother on a platform who identified as being gay, but he didn't even agree with what they were teaching in schools. And lots of brothers and sisters in that community don't agree with it. So we're fighting that fight. That, and I think we're fighting that more many times than we fight when we're really dealing with real, true Black African history and culture. We gave that fight up. Somehow we think that the little bit of king they give us, and they're giving us the wrong version of king. They still ain't nobody still doesn't mention a Garvey or Martin Delaney or anybody like that. And even those who they give us, I think Malcolm may have made it in some curricula, maybe, but they still give you a watered down version of him. So even when our Black leaders, ancestors make it into the curricula, what they do is they water it down to aid and uphold white domination. What do you say, Queen?
First, I want to say, listen, if you're in the chat and you want to join us, I just put the link in, and I could put it. I think I added. I don't know if you can see that, but please, guys, join us. We would love to have some input, some output. So come on in. We'll put you on stage and talk to Da. What do I say? I agree with you. This is my history lesson, so I'm listening. But you're right. We're not. We're fighting for something that is definitely not doing anything when it comes to education for our children, for our community. And we're accepting a lot of things because we want to be safe. We want to get along. And I think it's a problem. We have to call it out, and we have to construct institutions that are going to teach our children and teach ourselves what we need to know, because education is not something that is liberating African people.
Well, what they call an education is not liberating African people, right? No. Because what we have right now, what we're fighting for through their systems, we're acting like there's something there that is revolutionary, that there's something there liberating, that there's something there that is putting our children or allowing our children to elevate or change the world. Dr. Amos Wilson says education is about training and creating minds that think in the interest of the power structure that controls the system. Education is about training and creating minds that think in the interests of the power structure that controls the system.
Yep.
You say yep?
Yeah, of course. You can't control folks who aren't educated to put you on pedestals and to think that what they're learning does not benefit the system. So you have to control the education.
So to me, that's what
we're have free thinkers. Yeah,
we're fighting for. We're not fighting against the poor system. We're not fighting against and for something anew. We're fighting for the very system that is in place.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, if it bellies up, we're gonna have to do some work. I mean, when we saw what happened during COVID, if that didn't wake us up, I think what happened during COVID literally woke some of us up. But look, I didn't even put my son back into school. I continued to homeschool. Hey, look, that education on the real, it ain't. Look, I knew when I graduated from high school, I didn't know a goddamn thing. I knew something. But what I'm saying is, let me hold up. I was educated in African history and culture. Let me reframe that. They didn't teach me what they should have taught me. I am talking about, I just know that they should have taught me even the regular basic subjects to a greater degree. English, mathematics, science. I mean, there was some pros and cons. We had some beautiful teachers and all that. But what I am saying is, even though I even had a teacher who really snuck in some African history and culture, but I knew that's what he was doing. But the fact that he had to sneak it in and perhaps may lose his job if anybody knows. I know even as an academic right now that if you go too strong, brother or sir, you're going to have to deal with the white liberals. You can talk all of feminism, white feminism, or even black feminism, because black feminism is white feminism. And that is what you get in our, and that is what people are upset at. Even I'm going to argue, I maintain, I mean, at least right now, that is what they're teaching our children.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want your children. Look, let me tell you something. This is how, look, I don't care. These liberals, these white liberals, even black ones, these black people with a couple dollars, they want to say, they want you to fight for this education system that they won't even put their own children in.
Ooh. Ooh.
That you want me to fight for a system that you won't even educate your own children in.
So true.
You don't, in fact, you don't even want my children in school with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want your children to receive the education to keep and maintain power in a power position. I'm saying white liberals. I am saying even black liberals, because we have this capitalistic, Quranic type of mindset. We want to outdo each other because we've adopted the system. So we've adopted the education system. We're not looking at education like a, I mean, I know a lot of people got something with Nelson Mandela, but Nelson Mandela says education is it will change the world. It's not about that for them. They're getting education to maintain what's going on in the world. They want to maintain their position as many kids they have for your children. They're not going to change position with you. They don't even want. Even worse, they don't want your children in their schools. The scholar, Norman Finkelstein, Jewish scholar, one of the, he speaks against, he said that Jews don't want black people. He said him growing up in New York City as a Jewish person, even the Jewish people did not want you, the blacks in, they say blacks or African Americans or quote unquote, whatever, in schools with their children.
You can see that in Baltimore.
We can see that in Baltimore for sure.
You can see that in Baltimore. Yeah. Jews don't want black children in school with them. You don't see any black children in those Jewish schools.
They don't want you to cross Northern Parkway.
A public highway. Exactly. No.
They literally look you up and down. They don't want you to do that. Look, I understand it's trauma. I do. They got trauma. Look, black people ain't the only one walking around with trauma. But the problem is they get to act out their trauma legally. I'm sorry. They get to act out their trauma legally. And that is what you also see in Palestine.
They get to express.
They get to express it with all types of warfare.
Absolutely.
Because first and foremost, white people in this country didn't want Jewish people here. And white people in Europe didn't want them in certain places. So they together let's create this space called Israel and Palestine, because we don't want them here, but we can create this new colony and rule the Middle East. But what I'm saying, look, I'm getting off a little bit, but what I'm trying to say is this: what are we fighting for? Again, I'm not talking about Title I. I'm not talking about free lunch. I'm not talking about free bus tickets. I ain't talking about your financial aid. I'm not talking about those things. But I am saying the core of education is the curriculum. What are you fighting for? You're not fighting. You are fighting for something. You're fighting to maintain white supremacy, racism, and indoctrination of our children. You are not fighting for liberation. You're not fighting for real change. Go ahead, Sister Queen. Look, you had something.
Yeah, let me ask a question. So you're saying that the education, of course, is for the empire. We're clear about that. So is that as we go into colleges? Because you said we got HBCUs, we have all of this, what we would call schools that Black people go to. I graduated from Morgan State University, the Morgan State University. Don't forget that. And so, and I love Morgan, but we have to understand is that in that type of in education when it comes to on the level as college or master's level, the PhD level? Let's talk about it, because I think a lot of people say, well, you have your own schools, you have HBCUs.
Well, the thing about a system is
Mm.
no matter what you throw in it, it's always trying to find homeostasis. Right? It doesn't matter. If you're operating in a system, the job of the system is to find homeostasis or equilibrium. It's whatever you throw in the system without disrupting the system goes in to find a way back to its normal way of existing. So if we don't disrupt the system that currently exists, there's nothing you can put in. You can have little you can have teachers like Dr. Myatt and myself, and I'm talking about even in Black institutions, and I'm at Bowie, and I think they're doing a great job in this department. But still, the system finds ways to oppress these particular type of professors. That they find a way to oppress those departments. In fact, Africana Studies is at war right now.
And the curriculum too, Di. You got to talk about the curriculum. It is state sanctioned. It comes into the school, right? Like an HBCU.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, you got to realize that textbooks, what a lot of times accreditation departments and bodies, they say you have to use certain types of textbooks.
Mm-hmm.
Not all professors do that, but sometimes you have to even say you use them just because they won't. You can't keep your accreditation.
Yeah.
But the reality is, yes, the system and everything in it is always trying to find homeostasis, and that homeostasis is white dominance. If you don't disrupt it, and what we currently have, I'm not saying that I don't want us to feel hopeless or nothing like that. But what I'm saying is we have to be careful what we're fighting for. Because we think we're giving up a good fight, but literally we're putting energy in places. If we took that same energy that we're putting to maintaining a system, to as much energy to put in us creating it our own, I think will be much more beneficial. Now, the system itself makes that really hard. The system makes that hard for us. And then what we begin to do is we buy into the system so much that we believe that somehow if you are at, like, even just thinking about it, the fact that you have to go, you're respected because you're at Harvard. We believe that shit's. Like, we believe that because you're at Harvard or one of the schools in the Northeast region, that somehow supersedes the education that you'll get somewhere else, or that somehow these are the most intelligent people. We believe it, and if one of us go there, we give them way much more credibility than someone who hasn't gone through those things.
Amen.
Or a white school, or or what have you. Like, just even in Baltimore, the whole war between,
Hopkins
and Towson and all that, but people try to put Towson and compare it against Morgan and all this type of nonsense. And they're not really looking at curriculum. They're not looking at outcomes. They're not looking at anything. What they're looking at is they believe Towson is a white school.
Yeah.
And we
you better say it.
You know what I mean? So it's in their mind, it's better.
Yeah, because we got Hopkins in Baltimore and everything's compared. It's like the standard, and it's not.
And I've TA'd at Hopkins.
Okay.
And I'm not impressed.
Ooh.
I'm not impressed at all. I have TA'd at Hopkins for 2 years when I was doing my doctoral work. And I think that, and I've also went to Loyola. Now, lots of people in the counseling psychology field, they really respect Loyola, right? Okay. But the thing is, I'm definitely not impressed with Hopkins. I'll be honest with you, in that particular department. First of all, it's one of those programs that's an accelerated master's program. I have no idea how you come out as a clinical professional counselor. And I've actually taught in school like this less than 2 years. 60 credits in internship hours, like 2 years of internship hours. You get an internship hours there only for like 3 semesters. So what I'm saying, but they're going through all these credits. Now, 60 credits might not seem like a lot, but in a program where you're actually doing 60 credits in less than 2 years, and also a clinical internship. Internship is enough by itself. You're literally working with people. It is a very stressful process, and you're learning to work with people and their problems, and that's a very stressful process because you have people's mental health and lives in your hands. So I'm not impressed, to be honest with you. And I'm saying that goes for that goes for any of these type of institutions. I mean, I observe all types of media. I observe those from the Ivies. I observe conservative media. I observe or consume liberal media. I consume leftist media, right-wing media. I read scholars from all types of forms of academia. In fact, even the liberal arts school I was at, it was boring to me. A white liberal arts. It was boring because I don't think that it was so boring to me because there's something different about Black intellect. I'm just going to be honest with you. This is not if you agree or not, don't agree. When you talk about somebody like a James Baldwin, and you're talking about people like Malcolm X, and you're talking about people like even like some of these people you might not agree with, like Mandela, and when you talk about even people like Desmond Tutu, whether or not you agree with them or not, I am saying that is something there that is so much different. And I'll be honest with you, in this case, that is, for me at least, is so much more superior if you agree with them or not. I'm talking about some of the people that I disagree with right now, like Glenn Lowry. I like Glenn Lowry, although I disagree with him many times. I think that Thomas Sowell, however you say his name, he has some thoughts, even though I think he's out of his mind many times. I think, so what I'm saying is
Umar, your brother.
Umar is sharp and crazy, right? But so what so what I'm saying is I give you some people like, I don't have to agree with you to know and appreciate your intellect, but I'm telling you there's something beautiful about Black intellect. There is something beautiful about Black intellectual. There is something beautiful about Black academia. In fact, when you talk, so me teaching what the students say at HBCUs, they because they've been to all types of colleges, right? So they come back, they're like, it's nothing like an education at HBCU. No, we know HBCUs aren't ours. However, the professors many times are the difference makers, right? The professors many times are the difference makers. But the students complain about the administration more than they love the experience with professors many times, right?
The school, the administration of the school.
Yeah. But there's something about it that when you go other places, you just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, even as a professor, that give and take and teaching students from Black intellectual students, and I got some good. I'm not saying everybody. Let me qualify this, because there are some brilliant minds everywhere. But I'm saying as a whole, and a generalization, I'm talking about statistically. I'm talking about from a social science perspective, and I'm talking about my own lived experience qualitatively. There's something that is so missing in some of these white institutions. Now, I do have to admit that I really did enjoy Loyola, and I'll tell you why. Because it had a spiritual component. To me, I just thought it was African centered and white people just coming together to, they put spirituality back into psychology, which is what our African scholars have been doing for so long. So so it's complex, but on the whole, there's something that Black intellect and Black intellectuals bring to the picture, or to the reality, or to the I don't know what I'm looking for the word, but it's just
beautiful.
That is missing when you go into these other spaces. So listen,
again, I put the link in again, guys. Come on in here, Dr. Mia. You killing the chat. You can come see us, sis. You are welcome to come on. I just put the link in the chat for anyone who wants to come on. But I had to call out Sister Mia because she's killing the chat right now. Come see us, sis.
No, I wasn't impressed with those students at Dr. Mike. I was not impressed with the students at I tell you who I was impressed with. The young brother, and he comes on here sometimes, and his Dontavius Hicks, about to be Dr. Dontavius Hicks. I think Hicks. I'm pardon if I'm saying the wrong last name. But anyway, brother Dontavius at Loyola kicking. At Hopkins was kicking butt.
He's different.
You know Dontavius?
Yes, I've heard. I saw something on him. He's different.
Oh yeah, Dontavius is a beautiful brother, and
wow.
Yeah,
I would like to hear something current.
And yeah, so Dontavius is phenomenal. And I mean, up there, I mean, he stood out. I mean, when we go there, especially when we got some level of consciousness, I'm telling you, we definitely there's no denying us. I'm telling you, Black African-centered education is needed. And when you have a real strong Black consciousness in African-centered education, people say African-centered people have done nothing. I suggest and I argue and maintain that we have done something on a mental, psychological, intellectual level that is needed for African Black liberation. Because a part of on a philosophical, and even like some of the work that that people are putting, like all the different scholars, and Dr. Meyer was for sure even bringing it into engineering, and people bringing it like Dr. Wells and bringing it to psychiatry, and people bringing it to psychology and counseling, and I mean, wherever you are, I think I saw a post that said it's holistic, and our education has to be holistic. There's no this or that. It's this and. All right, what you got, Queen? Queen, you're on mute, Queen.
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Mia says she's in bed, so she's gonna get us next time. But really, I'm this is a history lesson for me. I'm listening. I'm just like the chat, listening to you. But I I'm not an educator. I'm mildly educated. But I am not an educator, but I definitely think that we have to look at education. We got to look at homeschooling. We have to look at our own schools. Just like everything in our community, we got to look out this box that we've been put in. The box is why we're in trouble. The only box you got this good is Doc in the Box. The rest of them, throw them out. Please do. Throw them out. Real
Dr. Amos Wilson says we must educate our children for the liberation of our people and construction of a new reality.
Amen.
And so the reason why I'm bringing Dr. Amos Wilson in here today, I mean, this is one of the ancestors, elders, scholars. That I said, okay, how are we gonna frame this show? Let me frame it with somebody. I could have did Carter G. Woodson and all types of folk, right? But it's something about the spirit of Dr. Amos Wilson, and he was not a man who was really respected as in his lifetime as he is now. And I think that to me, we must keep his and other scholars' names alive. I think that he's one of our geniuses, and many times what we do, we allow our geniuses after death, and while they're here to die. And lots of times we don't want to one thing what they teach you in white schools. Me going through different educational systems, one of the things they say, and they continue to say, we stand on the shoulders of giants. So it's like this, you've always taught, as Dr. Amos Wilson speaks about in his book, that they always teach you about their forefathers and foremothers. When they say history is important, they teach history in every course. They teach history in every program. And they show you people that don't look like us, but then they'll say they're not doing that. In every, I don't know these white people, but I know Freud, Jung, Adler, who else can I go with? What's the guy who, I can go with some Fritz Perl.
Churchill.
No, I'm talking about psychology, psychiatry, counseling.
Sorry.
you can go into all these different people like you know Freud, you know you probably know James,
I know
maybe not
Freud.
know
That's
James.
it.
Yeah, you know, but when you go to the school, you think I knew some Beck before. I didn't know who Aaron Beck T. Beck was. Yeah, I know his name so much now that I could give it to you. Aaron with the T in the middle, and his name is Beck. You know what I mean? You can also like who like I know his daughter Judith Beck.
Mm.
Like I
Wow.
don't,
You know the
what
family.
I'm saying is I don't necessarily read these folk outside of education, but guess where they're at?
Where?
Right here. If I really
Mm.
sat here and thought about it, I mean, that was too many names already. I gave you about 6 names that I know just because of the education. I'm not saying I didn't learn anything. What I'm saying is they didn't teach me nothing about a black one.
Mm.
No, I'm saying I took a multicultural class. They did. I think Akbar had a quote. Cross had a quote in the book. Most of us don't even know who William Cross is. You know who William Cross is? You know who Janet Helms is? You know who Akbar is. You know, so what I'm saying is most of us don't even know who Dr. Amos Wilson is. Most of us don't know who a Dr. Clenora Hudson Weems is. I'm putting her up in there because I taught my students about Africana womanism. You know, because in the textbook, it's going to teach you about feminism and black feminism, but it's not going to teach you about our dear sister Clenora Hudson Weems. I brought in Tommy Carey, the creator of The Man Not. You know, and my students yesterday, they all were, you know, I got good text messages. You know, I don't know. We'll see what the reviews look like. But I mean, I truly do appreciate. They all said, you know what, we love what you gave us outside of the textbook, and I made sure it was intentional because what these programs do, they're going to get enough liberal education that makes black men the problem. I'm be honest with you, but like, why you always gotta go? Because this liberal white education, they are good at making white women victims and white men. I mean, I'm sorry, white men the worst people ever. White women are innocent, and then black people, black men are also kind of benefiting from their maleness, so they oppress women and all this type. Not just they can even oppress white women. So I mean, I'm just saying I'm telling you, this election season, and you know, Queen, I've been talking about it before, that this was the battle of the sexes election. You were like, why are you saying that? But look, everybody afterwards is now talking about it. Oh yeah, that was the men and women and yeah, what they did, what Obama did. Like the writing was on the wall. I am telling people. Somebody told me that, oh, that might go in academia, but we're talking politics. I said, no. Everything that goes on academia comes out of academia and is politicized. They wouldn't have these talking points if it wasn't these white feminists or white liberals in academia creating these constructs. What goes on in our regular life on a daily basis, if you can, I'm getting the feedback, Queen. I don't know why, but what goes on in our daily lives on a regular basis comes out of academia many times. Everybody's talking about trauma now, and everybody's talking about narcissists, and everybody's talking about everybody. At one time, everybody was talking about that he's bipolar, and then everybody's talking about Latinx. Like, that's a very academic thing. You understand? What we don't understand is where these concepts come from. We understand how theory rules the world. That is one thing. We don't understand that theories rule the world, and these theories come from places. They understand how theories rule the world. And that is why even though they're lying, they don't want critical race theory to take hold in academic places. because critical race theory would, especially if you're talking about somebody like Bell, one of the critical race theorists or purists, would say that racism would never it will always exist in America, and that when white people give you something, it's called interest convergence, and everything they give you is for their benefit. Anything, it's any type of concession is for them to maintain power. And that is what I'm saying, even when we talk about the system, even school system, trying to find equilibrium. Baba Assar says there is something dreadfully wrong with an education socialization process that leaves us ignorant of our past, strangers to our people, apes of our oppressors, and creatures of habitual. And he said, Dr. Wade Noble said that. Ashe, Baba. Queen, what you got for us? I see you taking notes. You're doing something over there. Looking professional.
I was pouring my water. You know, I got a little cold here. I keep my palate together. But listen, I'm listen, and this is powerful. Ashe, Baba Sa. Apes of our oppressors and creatures of habitual. Wow. Listen, the way that you're framing this is it's like I'm in school right now. I'm listening, and I'm so glad to be here front and center so I can hear this. But the way that we have been educated on education, we need to be re-educated on education.
Yeah,
and it's very true. And there's no, I just don't think if we really look at it in a holistic sense, if anyone, it's no one, they're not going to enslave you and free you too at the same time. So, and educate you and allow you to be a free thinker. And free thinkers would not continue in this system the way that it's set up.
That's true, right? And sometimes I challenge you a bit, Queen, because people, when they hear you say things like that, it's very general. Like, and what I mean by not just you, but all of us. So, like, they're not going to do this and do that at the same time. Like, so it's like people think, oh, well, okay, here she go with that stuff. Here she go with that. Like, okay, there's the press. Like, my challenge to us is that we have to get a little bit more granular in what we mean by these things. So other than that, they just sound like 50s talking points. Because, oh, well, your oppressor is like, okay, so now let's really talk about it a little bit. What does that look like in reality?
So when you say granular, you're saying that it is the conversation is too regular, it's too opaque, or I mean, why wouldn't your oppressor oppress you and then educate
because
you too?
The reality is
it's not a reality.
Just saying that is not. Black people don't think they don't think they have an oppressor.
Oh, they're not being oppressed. Okay.
No, like many of us, we feel like the society but we don't really, like, some of us feel oppression or we feel racism, but we also feel we don't necessarily always see it as a systemic thing.
So what do we think then? What do you think we more or less see it as? As, you know, it happens once in a while, or it shows an ugly head once in a while and it affects some people, but not me because I'm doing well. What are we?
And even though we talk about racism being a systemic thing, the very conversation we having right now is indicative that we don't. Because we trying to save a system that we are saying is racist at the core already.
Yeah. But I think don't we save things that we're familiar with? I would say more than actually it could be something bad, but we're familiar with that bad. And
yeah, we're comfortable with being the peasants of the empire.
Ooh, did you say the peasants?
with the number one peasant class. We are the peasants of the empire. So we want to again uphold our peasantry because we are in America.
Ouch.
and I'm saying that. I mean,
because we're not oppressed, but we're peasants. But we find with the peasantry. I mean,
peasants are oppressed, but I'm just saying that whatever word you want to use it, We
Yeah.
like to be the oppressed of the empire.
We like our place, in other
But
words.
we don't. We think that we believe in this in capitalism. That's part of the issue too. Or whatever. We believe in the system. We believe that we can reform the system. That's the thing. We really believe that we're going to be able to reform the system.
Or fix it.
Well, same
Yeah.
thing.
You know,
So
we can fix it.
yeah, we can fix the thing, the very thing. We can save this system. I mean, I understand why though. I understand why we want to. Who wants to think about what that would look like on the other end? What would that look like? Like some of us, like, we don't want to look at that. We don't want to look at what it would be like if we really had to rise up. I mean, many of us, most of us block that reality out. What would that look like? What would it take to change these conditions?
Wouldn't you think it would take some type of revolution, and we're not ready for that? We're not willing to die. We're not willing to lose what we have. We're not willing to not wear Jordans. We're not.
Well,
We're not willing.
I mean, I don't think that it has anything to do with the Jordans. You can,
Okay.
maybe you need some Jordans so you can
Well,
jump
when I
high.
say that, not just Jordans, I'm just saying consumerism. More or less, people recognize Jordans, but we're not willing to give up our things, our accoutrements, the things that we like, to get past this.
I mean, I don't know if it's about the accoutrements even. I mean, I think to some degree that's part of it. Okay. I'm processing this right now in real time, so I might back up. But I really think it's about the fear of what it would take. You know what I mean? And the reality is part of what it would take, you could probably get some accoutrements.
I hear you.
I mean, it's like that's how real it is. Like,
wow.
It's not like when you in the street, like on a more gang level. Let's say on a gang level, it's not like you have a rival gang and you're like, well, I'm scared that I'm gonna lose my my territory, so I'm just gonna stay safe right here. What I'm doing? No, they say I'm gonna take over that territory. I'm gonna gain territory. That's what white people have done across the world. That's what Europeans have done across the world. This is not their land.
They're doing it now.
But it's their land now. See, nobody wants to deal with those real realities, although we say it. Like, literally, like, why would we want, like, people think about this? For America to tell to really deal with the Palestine situation, it would have to deal with its own situation.
Absolutely. You said it.
You know what I'm saying?
Why would you deal with it? Because you got to look at you. That's it.
Yeah, like,
that's it.
Wow. In fact, Israel is America as well, and so
Israel, America Junior. That's what it is.
And so why would we want to deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, think about it. Like, and part of your accoutrements part is like, do we really want to give up our passports and go into as Black people in this country? Because we're pretty good peasants. We get to travel. We're the peasants in the world that can travel. We're traveling peasants. So why would I want to give up that? Now, the problem is, it also puts this invisible shield up. Like, we don't see how our families are being torn apart. Like, we don't see how our children are declining, and how we don't have any wealth. With like how we don't see our families deteriorating, as we don't see the communities and the cities around us falling apart. Like so part of it is that's their problem. I'm doing what I'm doing, and I've done what I had to do to get what I've got. What the teachers used to say back in the day? I got mine, you got to get yours.
But is that selfish? Have are we on this? Well, we got to be selfish because we're not doing a lot of unification things. So it's got to be some selfish in there. Like I got it, you got to get it. And you said we are peasants. Well, that's a killer. Ooh, traveling peasants. Hope y'all heard that. Traveling peasants, y'all. Hope y'all heard that. Wow.
This is freestyling, family. We're gonna call this Freestyle Thursdays. You know, these are off the cuff thoughts with Queen of B. Family, give us some likes, loves, shares, comments, before, after, all those type of things. But yeah, traveling peasants. We don't want to deal. You know, most of us know that. Most of us know that it isn't working for all of us, you know. But I'm losing my train of thought. You asked the question, but you know what that was?
I said, are we selfish? You're saying that you know,
Are
like
we
you said,
selfish? Yeah, all people who've been oppressed and through forms of trauma, they are selfish.
mm-hmm.
They have no that when you're in survival mode, you can't really
Survival
think.
selfish. Yeah,
Yeah, you
selfish.
can't really think about other people.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I call it a trust wound. I was telling one of my clients the other day, like, we have
Trust me.
trust wounds. Yeah, we can't we don't trust each other. So why would I not be selfish?
Hmm.
Somebody hurt me. And lots of times it looks like my mother.
Mm.
Hmm?
This is deep. Trust wound.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Okay. And survival is selfish. So then how do we get to okay. So we hear what the issues are. We hear that we got these issues, which we're peasants. We're comfortable with being peasants. We're selfish. We have trust issues. We have these wounds that are open, they're oozing. How do we intend change who we are? How do we then look to educate ourselves? Because self-education is important. And then taking that education and bringing it to your family, your community. How do we then turn this ship around?
I think part of what we're doing right now is addressing the narrative, reframing the way that we look at this thing. To me, this
Mm.
is social psychotherapy.
I love it.
So
Let me
when
write
we
that down,
talk
Dot.
when we talk
Social
about
psychotherapy.
when we are fighting for, like, for example, like many times we're not even conscious that what we're
Mhm.
fighting for is the very thing that we say will failing us in the first place. Most of us, if we took like one thing about mental health is this that two things that in opposition can exist in your mind at the same time, and you don't even know that they both exist. It's kind of like
Mm.
when you're working with people, they see, let me give an example on a social level. It's like this school is failing us. These people, our children aren't being properly educated. Right? This is what
Right.
they'll say. This is what we'll say. But then the very same people will be the ones who say, we must save this school. We must stop Trump. Versus saying, you know what? This school is failing us. Trump is kind of come and do what he does to it. Or DeSantis is doing what he did to it. But instead of saying, all right, so we're going to have to go and create our own. I mean, many of us got experience in doing it now after COVID. Like homeschools and all types of other things. Sending your children to Umar. Um, joke, family.
Stop it. You don't got no
But
school. That school ain't open in 14 years. Stop it.
I mean, I'm just saying, you might get something a little better, but I mean, look, if I had to compare,
But I really think he'll
I
do
might
better than
give
some of these school systems. I think he'll do better than some of these school systems. I mean, Umar Sharp.
Yeah, you crazy, good and crazy. So you might fight a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. They have you good and crazy. But yeah. So two things occupying the same space is like, okay, these schools are failing us. Oh, we gotta protect these schools, and then you don't even know that. You know what? You said these schools are failing us. Now you're putting all that energy into upholding this same system that you said is failing us, versus saying, let's take that energy and build and support some institution in creating an institution. We're literally putting all types of energy into fighting DeSantis for things that we say. And look, I didn't look at all this thing around what DeSantis is doing and all that to prepare for the show, because I didn't have to, because I already know the system is the system is working. And when you study systems theory, you understand that systems are designed to do exactly what their output, what the outcomes are, what the output is. Because system theory, cybernetics, all these type of things, it's not it's not just a person trying to sound slick. Oh, the system is working. No, the system, even if your intentions were to create a system to give you a different outcome or output, once you create that system, you realize that the output that is putting out, you might have meant for it to put out pink jelly beans, but it might be putting out white jelly beans. You understand? Or it might be putting out black jelly beans. Let's go a little bit all the way to the other end. You meant for it to put out, let's change the colors up a little. You meant for it to put out white jelly beans, but it's putting out black jelly beans. I had to go to the whole other opposite, because I know y'all was like, pink. If you do pink, if you put a little bit more white in there, or you put a little bit, you can change the color, put a little red in there, But so what I'm saying is, if the system was created to put out white jelly beans and you're getting black, the system was, you intended something else, but this is what it's going to put out. This is what it's going to continuously put out until you make some serious changes. If jelly beans were supposed to look like, they weren't supposed to be jelly beans, but they're supposed to be eggs, you're going to have to do something else. The system is created. You didn't mean to make a pecan pie, but you meant to make a sweet potato pie. Or somehow, somewhere, your system, it was something wrong with the system. In other words, what I'm saying is, these might be poor analogies or examples, but the reality is, systems theory, which I agree with, we don't try to change the system here.
But I hear all the time the system is broke, and you're saying it's not, because I truly believe the system is working as it was made to work. So all of the outcomes we're saying, this is what the system, it's doing exactly what it should be. But I hear everyone say we got to fix the system. The system is broke. We got to fix politics. It's set up the way it should be.
You and that L is just, what is that L? What's up with that uppercase L? It's like, it gives me cringes. I must be like, oh, what is going on? Social with the large L at the end every time.
I'm gonna need to leave my L alone.
The system mess with me. See, now I can't deal with you.
Now you got to do it the way they say do it. It's a big L.
Listen, you defiant. That's what it is. That ain't gonna liberate us. Defiance.
That's a whole different thing.
Look, defiance don't liberate us. I'm gonna write an L, a large L at the ends, because they told me to put a little L. So but I do get why people. Let me say this: I do understand why people will say the system is broken.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think that's just another way of saying it, but reframing it to sometimes I get why people are saying it, because they believe the system was designed to do something else. Again,
yeah, they believe it's supposed to be good and it's supposed to be wholesome and everybody's supposed to work.
But also keep in mind what I'm saying. You can create a system and you intended for it to do one thing, but it produced something else. So now I think one could say, well, that system is broken. And in fact, I don't really think white people are as intelligent as we say they are.
That's true.
I don't think that they create this system as neatly and as intellectual, or I think some of these things happen as a result of
this movement. Exactly.
So I don't think that
but it happens still helps, since it's set up to help to actually platform them and keep them in power. It actually help. Whatever happens in the system, it still helps them in some way. Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, all you gotta do is look at it on a microcosmic level, and you see that these narcissists in your household, they ain't all that sharp, but they know those instincts and fears that Dr. Wells, and they know how to control your mind. These abusive relationships we be in on these individual levels, these cults that we join, these people they okay. I mean, they're not like astrophysicists or anything like that. But what I'm saying is they sure know how their trauma, and white people have been traumatized. And they have been. I'm talking about, especially the ones who created this country. They come from trauma. Their whole beginnings here was traumatic. They came here as
from trauma.
They came here from trauma, escaping, looking for this, doing that, and you think being freed from prison and all types of stuff.
Yeah,
they were oppressed themselves. And what do you think that a whole colony of people like that? What do you think they're gonna do?
They're gonna do what they know, baby.
Yeah,
oppression.
And again, after you've been traumatized, oppressed, and all these type of things, that's what you got in Israel right now. I mean, literally, they created a piece of land with people who've been traumatized, who feel like they have the right to exist. They ain't gonna put up with it no more. They're not gonna allow it. We're never gonna be there again. We have a right to exist. So now what they're doing is they're blowing that trauma through anything that gets in their way. Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't take that much brain power to be an oppressor. It doesn't. I mean, children do that. Children can do that on a smaller level.
You just need a system.
These are children who haven't grown up. Yeah. I mean, like when you look at Trump, do you really think he grew up?
Grew up.
Yeah. Do you think he's a grown man internally for real?
Very immature.
Like a lot of our African scholars, I can't think of the brother's name right now. Very beautiful elder who wrote a book, African Spirituality. It's like out of print, and I think his name is Akari. It's Okare, or he's a professor, and I think he's in Ghana. He speaks about the white community or society or European culture as being teenagers. When you look at, in comparison to African and some cultures from the Orient.
That's true. They're very older. They're older.
And you see that they're about building the biggest buildings and doing this and the you know what teenagers do in the world. Wow.
Very competitive and
right. And we very competitive, all of that, And we
what a way to look at that.
And then we fall into it because we want to be teenagers too. I mean, it's something about us. We always want to go back to our teenage years. We know we know that our teenage years was the roughest, but they also was the most freest and effed up this and the most dangerous.
Yeah, the most daring.
Yes, like you said, you don't even think half these students should be going to college. Like, why are their parents allowing us to go to college with these hormones raising and trying to experience all these drugs
So
and
true.
trying to like we're not even mentally prepared to go away to school.
Yeah,
One
that's
day
what
we got
college
all these,
campuses are everything. They got everything going on. You're right.
we got all these rules and restrictions,
Yep.
and then we get to go to college
Oof.
at 17.
I went at 17. Oh my Lord. I can tell
Yeah,
that story.
go
Whew.
ahead, tell me.
I mean, we have to really think about that. Like, how immature we when we leave home. Like how I left home and I went to college at 17, and you get into a place where there's no rules. Um, you have to go to school. You really don't have to go to school, actually. It will come back to bite you at some point. But everything happens in college, and we have to be honest about that. From drug use, sex, a lot of things that we don't want to talk about is happening on college campuses. So hey,
Doc asked a question about what books. So I'm pulling
yeah, she
from
want to know what Amos Wilson, which text were you using?
various sources. Some of it is freestyle, some of it is not. But I'm also pulling from videos. I'm pulling from Blueprint for Black Power. I'm pulling from. I think I mentioned. What did I mention earlier? I mentioned. What is it? The Falsification of African Consciousness. Yeah, those books right there.
We got
And
a
maybe and perhaps developmental psychology, if I can think of that book's title.
we got a
correctly.
Sean Ford. Sean the Icon, welcome. Says you talking about Professor Abanengo or Abanigo. I don't want to say it wrong.
Nah, I'm not talking about.
You're
Thank
not
you for
talking about
that.
him.
Nah,
Thank you,
I'm not.
Sean.
I'm talking about.
And listen, if you guys want to come on in, it's still we're about to get out of here, but you can come and give a last something. Let me put the
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna give y'all a good.
link
I'm gonna give
in
y'all
the
a good
chat.
sharp out. Give y'all a good sharp. Give y'all. I'm gonna show it to y'all. Brothers, I like him, right? I really do like him. I think he's beautiful. Oh, sorry. I don't know if that's how you say his name, but I think let me see if I can see the old video that really put me on with him. He has a beautiful book too, maybe a few books. But if you ever had a chance to kind of can you see that?
Yeah, what's that? A book? Want me to add it?
So this was
Prof. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Hope you're very well.
I am. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Study the brother, Baba.
So thank you very much for joining us on the Sages. And on the
Kofi
Sages,
Asar.
Ghanaians who've lived in this
Sorry,
country,
Apoku.
seen it all, and they share their experiences with us. Today we're privileged to be in the house of Professor Kofi Asare Opoku. I'm sure you know him. You know him because of his teachings in world religions and African traditional religions, his beliefs also in our culture and our community, and most importantly, his love for the environment. We're in his house to find out from him.
But if we are to become a distinct people, a people with confidence, imitating others, one of the most important cultures in the world.
Someone have described you as an environmentalist. For you, who would you say you are?
Well, I would say I am first and foremost a student of African culture, because I believe that the culture that our ancestors left us is one of the most important cultures in the world. It is our culture that makes us who we are, and without it, we are just shadows, following others, imitating others, not knowing precisely who we are, and just floating. But if we are to become a distinct people, a people with confidence, a people with a vision, then we must ground ourselves thoroughly in our culture.
I'd like to explore that. Why must we ground ourselves thoroughly in our culture? What is it about our culture that would set us on the path to development?
Okay, I start with a proverb from the Congo. And as far as I'm concerned, all Africans are my ancestors. So I say, my Congo ancestors said, the man or the person who is in touch with his origins is a person who will never die.
Mm.
And so if we cling to our culture, if we stand firmly on our culture, we will never die.
Okay. But let me just explore that also.
Yeah.
Because we're learning from you. We're learning about ourselves. And I mean, as you can see the environment, you can see all the greens that later on would, you take us on a tour even of your house before we get into Anansi Choir. But let me just find out, why do you say all Africans are your ancestors?
Well, I believe that all Africans are one people. It's the Europeans who divided us into Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and so on. We were all one people. Humanity began here, and although we lived in various communities or nations, we are the same people. And I identify myself as a descendant of these people who lived before us. And so for me, all Africans, whether they are Kenyans or whatever, they are all my ancestors. And their proverbs and their traditions mean so much to me, and I identify with them. That's who we are. Politically, Nkrumah and the others, we're talking about Pan-Africanism, but mine is one of cultural unity of Africa. Because as I said, the whole world began here, and everything that we have today has its origins here on this continent.
So you
That was powerful.
Yeah, so I mean, check the good Baba out. I really appreciate his work, from a cultural, spiritual, and he even he speaks from a political standpoint as well. So yeah, I really appreciate the dear Baba, and I think that even the small part that you heard about him, I think it's applicable to us in the diaspora, and even this topic, because when we look at the education system here, we understand that they do not teach us about us in a real meaningful way. In fact, they teach us and this sounds very redundant, but I mean, you know how when you get your insights around the same information can just become more profound. And what, again, and this is redundant, but what they teach us in schools doesn't touch on us. It doesn't touch on our history. This is not, and people might say, people been saying it forever. So, but we're not acting like that. We're not necessarily fighting for the implementation of that type of curricula. Or, in fact, I think we should be really fighting for the building of our own curricula in our own institutions, our own spaces. And everybody doesn't have to do that, or supporting other institutions, like I was saying with TNET. We don't have to do everything at TNET, but there are institutions, Black institutions that do all types of work. Here in Baltimore, around the United States, around the world, that we can aid each other in doing what we do. Like, some people say, well, we got to do the children, and the children. Well, yeah, some people, yes, we have to work with the children, and that's very applicable with this particular topic. But there's also people who have to do some geriatric care. There's some people who have to do care for relationships and middle-aged people. There's people who have to do work inside of prisons. There are people who have to do all types of work, but we collectively need to work together to strengthen all of these different spaces. We ain't got to do everything. We don't have to do everything. You can do multiple things, but I think that will be very much more beneficial if we start to work with grassroots level organizations, homeschools, independent schools, uh, to a lesser degree, maybe charter schools that have African-centered focus and stuff like that. But nonetheless, we really need to focus on building our own. I know people are against that. I know some of my left brothers and sisters kind of say, well, I don't know. It's kind of confusing to me because the reality is when we send our children to the schools where most of us are, it impacts them psychologically in one way. And when we think we're doing better and we send them to schools that the majority quote unquote culture in the United States is represented, it definitely impacts them psychologically. Um, Interestingly enough, a student of mine's, he often speaks about, he spoke about it on he's a white guy, and he often speaks about feeling way more at home in Black communities. In fact, in the class yesterday, he shared that he feels like all white people should experience black being around Black culture. And I'm saying I think he came from a really heart in a real honest and authentic place, because I think what he's saying is he finds us to be very humane, and I can't disagree with that.
I can't disagree with that.
I think that he's tapped into something that many have not tapped into.
And maybe he's been able to experience white culture in a way that we don't experience it neither. And I mean, he has. I mean, because he's a white male, but definitely, I think we can identify that this it's not a very humane culture, because we feel we're the peasants. We're feeling.
Well, he's also just to kind of, because he's vocal. He's also deaf. He's also deaf. So he has also experienced it from that particular identity.
Yeah.
How white culture treats one who has that type of,
or who's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
How they put people in boxes. They put you away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's real, and the miseducation is real. The miseducation is real. I was looking for one more thing.
And we didn't have nobody came on today, but we appreciate you guys. You hung in. We've been here an hour and 52 minutes. This has been powerful, Da.
Well,
I hope you guys got something out of this. I mean, education we talk about the miseducation of the Negro. I think the miseducation of the African American is still happening.
Dr. Amos Wilson says, a miseducated mind becomes an agent of its own oppression.
Ow.
Again, a miseducated mind becomes the agent of its own oppression. So, again, there's a lot of miseducation going on. And we're fighting to maintain institutions that are institutions of miseducation, rather than taking that same energy and saying, you know what, let's get together and build our own. Now, I know people say that's a lot. I don't know if we can do it. I mean, for y'all who believe that, that's cool.
No, I think they're afraid too. Everything that was built by Black Americans or Africans, they come and blow it up. Well, the system comes and get it.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if I want to say everything, right?
Well,
and the reason why because I think that what happens is, as Dr. Amos Wilson also speaks about, is this idea that we think that white people are invincible. We believe they're all powerful. We believe that we can't win. So I want to be, I just want to be careful with saying everything.
Like that.
I'm not going to say it won't be no fight. It definitely will be a fight.
Oh, it's going to be a fight.
But I mean, if you're going to lose, go down fighting.
That's what James Bond said. I'd rather die on my
feet
than on my knees.
You can't win. One thing you can't win if you don't try.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
I like this style. You said a miseducated mind becomes an agent of its own oppression.
Yeah. So again, to kind of wrap this up, it's like my thing isn't about Title One or what type of funding goes to this school here, and we're
School
fighting for
lunch.
that, and lunch, and free bus tickets, and whether they give us IOPs or
Do they have
all
PE
these.
in school? They need to go
Like
out.
that's not my argument, right? My argument is we have to not lose sight that the education in these schools already aren't adequate. That this education in these schools already they already are oppressing. They are really disserving our communities. And this is by design. This is by design. When people say systemically, that means it's been designed intentionally or unintentionally. If it was intentionally or not, or intentional or not, this is the output. And if we continue to put our energy into systems that don't support us, we'll continue to get the same outcomes. We have to build our own. Even some people might think that, well, I'm saying our own, even if it has a few less resources. Believe me, the mental benefits outweigh the few resources that you don't have. Everything's shiny. How they end it, Queen? Everything's shiny.
Ain't gold, baby.
Yes. So, Queen, you take us on out of here.
Well, guys, we've had a great discussion tonight, and Dr. Da has definitely laid it out. We heard a lot from our scholars, our ancestors, Dr. Amos Wilson, and others that he put into this conversation. And I hope we have, our goal is to inspire. It's not to beat up Black people. That's not what we are. We are here to inspire us to think differently. To get out of our own boxes and get out of our own way. And that's really important. Is like we need to move out of our own way, and also kind of put some other movements in our lives. Like we're very traditional, we're very comfortable, but we're dying, we're falling apart, our families are falling apart, our communities are in dire need of resources. We don't have a lot of wealth. So it starts with education. It starts with looking at what we're being taught, what our children are being taught, and what we teach ourselves on a daily basis. So that was the goal tonight, is Trump isn't disrupting much in Black education because African Americans need to teach themselves. They need to teach their own culture, and they need to teach their own politics. That's the jam, baby. That's what we are. So thank you. Every Thursday, guys. Every Thursday, Doc in the Box, come see us. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next Thursday. We boxed up and out. Good night.
Peace and power, family.
Peace.
Black and proud. Claim your African. Black and proud. I'm telling you, when you claim your Africanness, you're gonna get your mind back. Black and proud. Claim your African. Black and proud. I'm telling you, when you claim your Africanness, you're gonna get your mind back. Black and proud. Claim your African. Black and proud. I'm telling you, become a part of it. Embrace it. Become a part of it. Embrace it.